Today we are discussing about structural formation of nucleosides. That means how the nucleoside gets structurally formed. In yesterday's lecture, we are discussed about that is the nitrogenous base combines with the ribose sugar or with the deoxyribose sugar to form the nucleoside, both in case of RNA as well as in case of DNA. Today we are discussing it structurally how these nucleosides are formed. First of all, we have a deoxyribose sugar in case of DNA. In case of DNA, we have a deoxyribose sugar. So this is deoxyribose sugar, and this is carbon number 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is a carbon number 5. Now here on carbon number 1, we have a presence of OH and H, and in carbon number 2, we have a presence of H and H only in case of DNA, and here we have presence of H and OH, and on carbon number 4, we have a presence of H, and on carbon number 5, we have a presence of CH2OH. Now this is the structure of our deoxyribose sugar. Say this is the deoxyribose sugar. Now it has to combine with the purine or pyrimidine to form the nucleoside. Let's first take the structure of a what you call this purine, how it binds with the pyrimidine and what is the bonding called as, and which are the two items are involved in a bond formation. Let's take the structure of adenine. If I am making here an adenine, say this is the structure of an adenine. And this is the hydrogen present here, and we have the NH2 group here, and we have also the triple bonds here, double bonds as well in case of this structure. And here we have the carbon number 1, 2, anticoagulation 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now the bond between them, well, as we have discussed in our early lecture, that means purines when combined with deoxyribose sugar in case of DNA or with a ribose sugar in case of RNA, the bond is always between C1 of deoxyribose sugar, or we can also call it as a ribose sugar, C1 of deoxyribose sugar and ribose sugar, and N9 of purine. The purine may be adenine or it may be guanine. So when the bond formation takes place here, where we have the release of water here, so water is released here, this H and this OH combines together and the water is released here. So we have the release of water and the bond is formed between N9 and C1. So with the release of water here and we have the bond formation between C1 of pentose sugar, it may be deoxyribose or ribose sugar, and N9 of adenine. This bond is called as glycosidic bond. So the structure here which we have taken on this top, the structure we have is the adenine. This is adenine combining with the deoxyribose sugar in case of DNA. In case of RNA, you have to kept only the OH here. Now, this structure is known as adenosine. And if we have a formation of adenosine, this adenosine is called as nucleoside. It's called as nucleoside. You can make the structure one more here. You can take the guanosine here, combine with the deoxyribose sugar in case of DNA, and in case of RNA, you can combine with the ribose sugar. It always forms the adenosine, which is known as nucleoside. This is a structural conformation or structural formation of nucleoside. How the nucleosides are formed with the combination of nitrogenous base with the deoxyribose sugar. The most important thing is the bond between them is between a C1 of pentose sugar and N9. This is the most important thing which you have to keep in mind. Let's take one more diagram, and we will take here the deoxyribose sugar combining with the pyrimidine. Like take the example of a thymine, or we can also take the uracil as well. So here in case of next structure, if I am making here, we have a deoxyribose sugar. If I am making here a next structure on this side, say for instance we have a deoxyribose sugar. Say this is a deoxyribose sugar. Okay, this is carbon number 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is the carbon number 5. Now on this carbon number 1 we have a OH and H, and on this carbon we have a H and H in case of deoxyribose, and we have a OH and H here. On carbon number 2 we have a H, and on carbon number 5 we have a CH2 OH. Now this is the carbon number 2. Now this deoxyribose sugar, or you can take a ribose sugar as well, it combines with the nitrogenous base. Like we have a pyrimidine here. We take the one example of the pyrimidine, like we will take the cytosine. If we are taking the cytosine here, now cytosine structure is like this. This is the structure of the cytosine. Here we have NH2 on its top, and here we have a double bond O, and here we have the double bonds as well, and here we have a presence of H. So if I am taking this one as a cytosine, and for numbering is in a clockwise, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now here in case of pyrimidine, when it binds the deoxyribose sugar or with the ribose sugar, it has to form a nucleoside. What happened here again? To what is with this OH of the pentose sugar and the H of the nitrogenous base, that is the cytosine. So if we have a nitrogenous base here, it is a cytosine. Okay, and this is a deoxyribose sugar. Deoxyribose sugar. Now it has to form a nucleoside. Now what happened? The water is released here again. So the water is released here, and the bond is formed between N1 of pyrimidine, that is cytosine, and C1 of deoxyribose sugar. So the bond is formed here. And with the release of water here, we have the glycosidic bond formation. This is also a glycosidic bond. But here the bond is between C1 of pentose sugar, and N1 of cytosine. That is actually the pyrimidine. So you have to keep in mind, in case of purines, the bond in case of nucleoside, that is when the purines are forming the nucleoside, the bond will be always between C1 and N9. But in case of pyrimidines, the bond will be between C1 of the pentose sugar or deoxyribose sugar or ribose sugar in case of RNA, and N1 of pyrimidine. So this is the most important thing. C1 and N1 is the bond, a glycosidic bond which is formed during the nucleoside formation. And here we call this nucleoside as, this is known as cytidine. Cytidine is the nucleoside here which is formed. So you can make the nucleosides of all of these nitrogenous bases when they combine with the ribose sugar or with the deoxyribose sugar. But the most important thing which you have to keep in mind, that is the bonding, the glycosidic bond. In case of purines, when they combine with the deoxyribose sugar or with the ribose sugar, the bond is always between C1 of deoxyribose sugar or ribose sugar and N9 of what you call the purine. It may be adenine or guanine. But here in case of pyrimidines, when they bind with the deoxyribose sugar or with the ribose sugar, the bond will be always between C1 of the deoxyribose sugar in case of DNA, and RNA also C1 of ribose sugar. It binds with a glycosidic bond with the nitrogenous base, that is the cytosine. So pyrimidines always make the bond between C1 of the pentose sugar and N1 of the cytosine. This is the most important thing which you have to keep in mind. Now we will discuss about nucleotide formation, how the nucleotides are formed. Now we have the structures here. I will take these structures. I will use these structures for making nucleotide as well. Say whenever we have to study about the nucleotide formation, we are discussing about the nucleoside. Now we have a nucleotide. So in a nucleotide, you have to keep in mind nitrogenous base combines with ribose sugar in case of RNA, and deoxyribose sugar in case of DNA. Combined with these two, then if it is combined with the phosphates as well, then it leads to the formation of nucleotide. Or we can also say, in a simple terminology, that is, if we have a nitrogenous base combining with a ribose sugar or with a deoxyribose sugar, it forms a nucleoside. So nucleoside plus phosphates give us a nucleotide, which is the structural unit of the DNA and RNA. Okay? Now say for instance, if we take one example here, say if we have an adenosine as a nucleoside, adenosine, if we combine it with a one phosphate, it will give adenosine monophosphate. But if we combine it with the two phosphates, it will give adenosine diphosphate. If we combine the three phosphates, it will give adenosine triphosphate. Now this ATP, adenosine triphosphate, it acts as an activated nucleotide. It's an activated nucleotide. So the active form of nucleotide is always in a triphosphate state. You have to keep in mind. Say if Sam we have a guanosine as a nucleoside, now it combines with the one phosphate, it makes GMP, that's a guanosine monophosphate. If it combines with the two phosphates, then it makes guanosine diphosphate. If it combines with the three phosphates, it makes guanosine triphosphate. Now this guanosine triphosphate, it is the active form of the nucleotide. Similarly, if we have a cytidine as a nucleoside, cytidine, if it combines with one phosphate, it gives CMP, cytidine monophosphate. If two phosphates, then it is known as a cytidine diphosphate. If three phosphates, it is known as CTP, cytidine triphosphate. It is an active form of the nucleotide. Similarly, if we have a thymidine here in case of DNA, if we have a thymidine, and if this thymidine combines with three phosphates, it gives thymidine triphosphate, which is an active form of the nucleotide. Similarly, if we have a uridine, now uridine is always combined with the three phosphates, then making the UTP, uridine triphosphate. It is also an active form of the nucleotide. So you have to keep in mind that if the nucleotide is made up of nitrogenous base plus sugar pentose sugar, that will be ribose sugar or a deoxyribose sugar, plus phosphates, they give us nucleotide. But a very interesting point is that the nitrogenous base, when combines with the pentose sugar, either ribose sugar in case of RNA and deoxyribose in case of DNA, if they combine with it, forms a nucleoside. So if nucleoside combines with the phosphate, it makes a nucleotide. Similarly, if we have a nucleoside adenosine combining with one phosphate, adenosine monophosphate, two phosphate, adenosine diphosphate, three phosphate, adenosine triphosphate. Now it becomes the activated form of the nucleotide. Similarly, if we have a guanosine combining with one phosphate, it will be guanosine monophosphate, two phosphate, guanosine diphosphate, three phosphate, guanosine triphosphate. Similarly, if we have a cytidine combining with one phosphate, cytidine monophosphate, it combines with the two phosphates, then cytidine diphosphate. If with the three phosphates, then it is a cytidine triphosphate. Similarly, so we can see the triphosphate state of the nucleotide. That is adenosine triphosphate, guanosine triphosphate, cytidine triphosphate, thymidine triphosphate, and uridine triphosphate. These are the activated, or we can say these are the active nucleotides which can combine together to form a long chain of nucleotides like DNA as well as the RNA. Now we have to see how these phosphates get attached on it. See, if we have this nucleoside here, this nucleoside is known as adenosine. Now at carbon number 5, we have a presence of CH2. Now here on CH2, where the binding of a phosphate, see we have the binding of a phosphate here, the phosphate gets added here. If one phosphate gets added here, then we can call it as a monophosphate. If two phosphates are added here, then we can call it as an adenosine diphosphate. If we have three phosphates added here, then it is known as an adenosine triphosphate. So if we are using this is a 1 phosphate, 2 phosphate, 3 phosphate. If 3 phosphates are added to each other, it makes the adenosine triphosphate. Now this you have to keep in mind. So similarly, if we have a CH2 here, we can also add here a phosphate on the carbon number 5. So the phosphates here, phosphates are added on carbon number 5, C5 of deoxyribose sugar in case of DNA or ribose sugar in case of RNA. This you have to keep in mind. So the phosphates are added at carbon number 5. So here if I am adding it at phosphate 1, then it becomes a adenosine monophosphate. If I am adding it 1 more phosphate, then it becomes adenosine diphosphate. If I am adding it 1 more phosphate, so it becomes adenosine triphosphate. This you have to keep in mind. So this is a triphosphate. This is the 1 phosphate, another phosphate 3. If I am adding at the carbon number 5, if I am adding the 3 phosphates, now it becomes this structure becomes it was actually the cytidine, now it becomes cytidine triphosphate, CTP. Now it is an active nucleotide. It is an active nucleotide. Now in next lecture we will discuss about first we will discuss about the nucleic acid DNA in detail. We will take the structure of DNA, then the what you call the Watson and Crick model, which is the double helical structure of DNA. We will also take the all RNAs one by one. Now tomorrow we will discuss about the structure of DNA.